Mike Perlack here to entertain you with the help of Aerosmith. Talkin cheap, shut up and dance. Boom, 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 boom. Musical selection for today at work was the Wayne's World 2 soundtrack. A cassette that I've hung on to for many, many years, mainly because of the tracks Radar Love and YMCA. I didn't want to have to invest in the Village People's greatest hits back when I was a person of limited means. Because there was only one other song from them I knew, Macho Man, and that was on a Friends soundtrack that I already had. Well, I didn't want to have to spend the money on the Village People's greatest hits. Besides, that was my Moss thing, anyways. Disco. Anyways, interesting soundtrack. Not as popular as the soundtrack for the original Wayne's World movie. Apparently, Robert Plant's got a rather unique cover of Louie Louie on there, and another reason why I did hang on to this tape all these years, well, that aside from the fact that I was never willing to shell out big bucks for the CD. Even the first one, I actually lucked out and found. I had it on cassette, but I found the CD in a bargain bin at a Walgreens in the 90s. I was like, cool. but Aerosmith's Dude Looks Like a Lady. Now, the version on the Wayne's World 2 soundtrack is actually a live version of it, which is somewhat disappointing. But then they played it in the movie Mrs. Doubtfire, so all was well. Anywho. What else is on here? Oh, yeah, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, I Love Rock and Roll, which I probably already had at that point. On something, on another CD or record or whatever. But, yeah, Joan Jett actually was in a movie in the 80s with Michael J. Fox, and where I grew up, it was many years before I lived there, but the house, some of the scenes in this movie, By the Light of Day, are filmed in a house that was like a couple of blocks from where I grew up. Of course, by then, in the 90s, the town went to pot. Like a lot of democratically run cities do. I wonder why that happens. This song here, I do recall listening to and being glad it was on here, but I actually didn't just really truly discover this song until many years later. Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky. I actually watched a video recently some YouTuber posted. He talks about music all the time like me, but he does it more professionally, and he's always wearing a funny hat. He did a video in regards to that Spirit in the Sky song that I watched recently. Apparently the guy, Norman Greenbaum, never got, it would be many years before he would finally get royalties for writing that song, I guess. And I guess he was working at some food establishment, and his boss heard the song on the radio, heard that he wrote it, and fired his ass. Can you imagine losing your job because your boss is wet behind the ears when it comes to understanding the entertainment industry? Poor guy, can't help but feel for the fella. But I guess years later they fixed whatever was wrong, and I guess he gets royalties now. But apparently, several attempts have been made of doing covers of the song, but they can't get the sound quite right as the original. What else is on here worth mentioning? I mentioned Radar Love was one of. Oh, there's a song Frankenstein on here. by Edgar Winter. And actually, this Frankenstein is a cover, or is an instrumental, an instrumental song. Much like, think of a modern band to reference, like Dream Theater was before they became more mainstream. But yeah, it's a song called Frankenstein by Edgar Winter. But the interesting about that is on the first Wayne's World soundtrack, there's that Alice Cooper song, Feed My Frankenstein. And there was another song too. I acquired the CD because my ma's boyfriend's son would steal cars and give the corresponding CDs out of those cars to my mom's boyfriend, who would in turn give them to my mom, and then she would give them to me. And that's how I acquired a CD by a band called Saints and Sinners. And there's a song on that called Like Frankenstein. And this was back when I had very few CDs in my collection, and I just ended up liking it. I kept it. I think I already mentioned this. This will be a repeat. I try to avoid repetitive references on here, but it's getting to the point where I got so many videos out there, it's kind of difficult to do that. But that's also how I acquired 5-Man Acoustic Jam. Tesla. Anywho, what else can we talk about? Oh yeah, I was watching some videos about that Che Guevara, that that loser that a lot of leftists like to hail on a pedestal. Can you imagine the guy? The only reason the guy was in the position he was in is because he was associated with Fidel Castro. It was probably. I think it was probably part of God's plan. Somebody putting a bullet through that guy before he was the age of 40. But then there are leftist weirdos out there. Oh, he died a hero's death. I'm not a sports hero, for the record. But if I were, I wouldn't frickin' use that platform to frickin' promote hate for the country I represent. Jen Psaki, the press advisor, made a reference recently about the border crisis being the former administration's fault. If you honestly think that the former administration is at fault for the border crisis, then you suffer from mental retardation. All right. That's it for this one. Mike Parallax, thank you for your time.